Hello, welcome to the morning news. The top story today takes us to Mexico. For the first time ever, authorities voted to declare a gender alert for 11 municipalities of the central state of Mexico. Many are calling the measure historic but insufficient. Our correspondent Glenn Gunn has more.
Families of the more than 1,500 victims of femicide in the state of Mexico have demanded that the authorities apply a so-called gender alert for the whole state so as to prevent and sanction gender-based violence. After years of denial, the Mexico State Governor Rubio Avila finally petitioned the measure for 11 of the state's 125 municipalities.
We think that it is precisely for what is to come in 2018. We know perfectly well that we women are 52% of the voting population.
Yet families of victims express that the government's years of silence or denial of systematic gender-based violence has produced deep distrust of the state's change in perspective.
As women, we are not numbers of votes. We know that we are confronting inaction by the state. We know that we continue to be at risk, and we will continue to be attentive.
In a closed-door meeting, authorities of the Interior Ministry voted to implement, for the first time in the country's history, the gender alert for 11 municipalities, the most densely populated in the state.
The decision was taken that the alert be implemented, I insist, in those 11 municipalities that concentrate 55% of the incidents in the state of Mexico.
While civil society groups recognize the measure as a first step, they continue to demand that the entire state receive the alert and that special attention be given to impunity.
The topic that has been forgotten is the theme of impunity. Yes, there can be these other factors, poverty, what have you, but if we don't locate impunity as the main problem, then we will not understand why femicides have increased so much in Mexico.
While victims' families and activists demand the gender alert for the entire state of Mexico, they also demand that the measure be applied in 9 other states where cases of femicide and violence toward women are high. Clayton Cantelosur, Mexico City.
In El Salvador, gangs have shot dead 5 bus drivers since Sunday during a transport strike over the lack of security. The government has warned the strike is part of a right-wing attempt to destabilize it. The strike has brought the capital and other areas to a halt. Some sources say the transport workers were coerced to go on strike by the gang members. And as gang members step up violent actions, soldiers with armored vests, guns, and rifles are trained to fight criminal groups in urban areas in El Salvador. The army personnel are trained in rescuing kidnapped people and in marksman shooting. Training seems as if the army was preparing for a new war, but the fact is that 200 special forces are concluding training to head a wage war against gangs, who so far this year have killed 40 police officers and soldiers. Now let's take a look at our world news roundup.
Chief Stephen O'Brien said that none of the warring parties in Yemen had observed a humanitarian pause in fighting. He accused both sides in conflict of violating international law. The Saudi Arabia-led coalition announced a 5-day truce to allow for aid to be delivered. This did not happen. Both sides had largely observed a 5-day UN-brokered humanitarian truce in May, but a second truce earlier this month also failed.
The dire humanitarian situation in Yemen continues to deteriorate rapidly. With 80% of the population of about 26 million people in need of some kind of humanitarian assistance, and more than 1,895 civilians killed by fighting since March, the impact of this conflict on civilians is indeed catastrophic.
The nuclear agreement with Iran could transform the relations between Iran and the European Union. The European Foreign Policy Chief, Federica Mogherini, also said the deal could lead to the resolution of some of the region's worst crises. The European Union official was in Iran's capital, Tehran. She met with the country's foreign minister, Mohammad Javad Zarif. The two diplomatic officials agreed to start talks on various issues, including confronting terrorists.
It's an agreement that is a nuclear-related agreement, but its potential is much wider, much broader than this. It is a deal that has the potential to open a new chapter.
9 migrants have died attempting to cross Britain from France. French police says the Sudanese man who died was probably hit by a trailer exiting one of the shuttles that transport vehicles through the channel. About 5,000 migrants have camped out near the tunnel which they are trying to cross into Britain. Most of the migrants are from Africa and the Middle East. The death occurred as France and the UK agreed to return the migrants to their countries of origin, as a deterrent for other people attempting to take risky journeys to Europe.
We've agreed today that we will work together to return migrants, particularly to West Africa, to ensure that people see that making this journey does not lead to them coming to Europe and being able to settle in Europe.
A group of 1,000 artificial intelligence and robotic experts released a letter warning that autonomous weapons pose a grave danger to the world. They said if these weapons, which would not be controlled by humans, are mass-produced, they would soon be available for anybody to buy in the black market. They warned terrorists, criminal groups and warlords could use these weapons to destabilize governments or even for ethnic cleansing.
Here we're talking about having a computer make those life or death decisions, and that's a completely different moral point to have crossed.
An 8-year-old Baltimore boy has become the world's youngest double hand transplant recipient. Doctors at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia performed the world's first pediatric double hand transplant on Zion Harvey. He had lost his hands and feet to a sepsis infection at age 2. The doctors hailed the intervention as a monumental step. They say they hope to practice on many more patients like Zion. Cleveland Transit authorities released a new video showing a police officer pepper spraying a crowd leaving the Black Lives Summit last Friday. The incident caused public outrage. The images show Sergeant Robert Schwab spraying protesters at near Point Blank Ranch. The officer was placed on administrative duty after the video was released. An investigation is going into the event. Cleveland police has come under fire recently over racism and racial profiling.
In Mexico City, a new exhibition presents the late internationally famous painter Frida Kahlo's private correspondence with also renowned artists Diego Rivera and others to shed light on the day-to-day aspects of her life. The letters reveal the fragile health of Frida. The correspondence dates back to between 1945 and 1953. Frida Kahlo was unable to have children and underwent 3 surgeries. Her great niece, Cristina Kahlo, was in charge of curating the exhibition called Echoes of Ink and Paper.
The exhibit presents 85 objects in total, among which we have letters from Frida to different people, as well as the responses from these people to Frida.
More of these and other stories on our website, telesurtv.net/English. Thanks for watching and have a good day.